Hello, my name is Lucas Goad, and I'm going to do my top 10 movies that I have seen in the year 2016. The key part of that is movies that I have seen. I have not seen every single movie of 2016. If you're looking for me to discuss some sort of Oscar bait movie or some sort of fancy-pantsy independent film, you're going to be sadly disappointed. But these are the 10 films that I thought were the best that I have seen in 2016. I actually couldn't remember every single one of the films that I saw this year, so I had to make a list. And at number 10 is The Magnificent Seven. This movie was exactly what it needed to be. It was a Western thriller, it was a remake, it wasn't trying to be anything that it wasn't. Everybody knows I love Chris Pratt, I am a huge fan. I also really like Denzel Washington. All the actors were really good. Some of the characters didn't get enough screen time, but overall it was a really good film. Number 9, Pop Star. Never Stop, Never Stopping. I am a huge fan of Andy Samberg and the Lonely Island Boys, and this movie was just so funny. The songs were super catchy. Adults, do not let your kids see this movie. It was everything that I wanted it to be. It was so funny, and at the end of the day, that's what a comedy film needs to do. Number 8. Number 8, I heard a lot of people talk this movie up, so I wasn't really excited to see that film. I saw that it was on Netflix, and I thought to myself, I might as well just look at it. And number 8 is Zootopia. I was blown away by this movie. The character of Judy Hopps and Nick, they are so good. They play off each other so well. The social issues in this movie, the allegories to what's happening into our world today, it was just such a good movie. I didn't expect it to be as smart and creative as it actually was. Number 7. Number 7. I am a huge fan of this comedy group, so I was super excited when I saw this movie. I saw the DVD on Black Friday and I bought it. And number 7 is Keanu. Key and Peele, I am such a huge fan of them. They are so funny, but their show is a sketch show, and if movies that are based on the sketches from Saturday Night Live, if they've taught us anything, it's that some actors can only hold their own in a sketch. So I was cautiously optimistic when I saw Keanu, and it didn't disappoint. Key and Peele are so funny. There are lines in there that just had me cracking up. Number 6, Kubo and the Two Strings. This is probably my favorite animated movie of the year. I don't think a lot of people saw it. It only made $69 million on a $60 million budget. But believe me when I say this is the best animated movie of the year. I know a lot of people are raving about Moana and Zootopia, but the animation in this movie is so beautiful. I could hardly tell that it was stop motion. The characters were great. Personally, my favorite was the beetle, and the monkey was great too. It was just such a good and beautiful movie. Number 5, Jungle Book. This movie blew me away. The CGI was so on point. Not once could I tell that the boy who played Mowgli, who was really good by the way, was interacting with nothing. When I saw the behind the scene feature on the Blu-ray, he was interacting with nothing, and I could barely tell that. It looked like he was interacting with real people. And two standouts in this movie. Obviously, Bill Murray as Baloo was a perfect choice, but oh my goodness, Idris Elba as Shere Khan stole the show. I mean, I am a huge Idris Elba fan, and he's always great in everything that he does. But dang, his voice alone. Number 4. I actually did a review on this movie earlier, a couple of months ago actually. It's one of the 2 films that I saw twice in theaters this year, and that is Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch, as always, is amazing. The character of Doctor Strange was sort of like Tony Stark, but a little different. It was Tony Stark with magic. That's the best way I can describe it. If you want to know what I thought about it in depth, you can watch my review about it in the link below or the annotation here. Number 3. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, or Star Wars Rogue One, whichever one you think sounds better. This movie was so good. It brought so much to the Star Wars mythos, or the Star Wars canon. I know that a lot of in fact, all the expanded universe was scrapped out. They're called Star Wars Legends, and this just added a new, fresh part of the Star Wars canon. The CGI on this movie was on point with a few of the characters that they recreated. You'll know them when you see them. The characters were great. The camera work in this movie, you could tell it was directed by Gareth Edwards, because you could feel the scale, and when the AT-ATs were moving, you could just feel how heavy they were. Number 2. This movie is based on my favorite character of all time. He was just so perfectly portrayed in this movie, and the movie itself is great. And my number 2 favorite movie of 2016 was Deadpool. The comedic timing in this movie, the jokes, they were just so on point. And I am so happy that it got the nomination for Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy. I can do a completely separate video on this movie alone. In fact, I think I will, depending on how all of this turns out. But I cried tears of joy. This is the other movie that I saw twice in theaters this year, because, you know, I had the time to go see this twice. I cried so hard out of happiness because this movie was just so perfect. It was everything that I wanted to be and more. With that out of the way, my number 1 movie of 2016 is Captain America: Civil War. The Russo brothers are just so talented. The fact that they were able to give every single character in this film their own moment to shine. The struggle between Captain America and Iron Man was just so good. The acting between Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. was just so great. And the relationship between Captain America and Bucky was just so good. That was the focus. And obviously the two new characters in this movie. Tom Holland is Spider-Man. That's everything I wanted from Spider-Man. He is the best interpretation of Spider-Man in a movie that I have seen, live action. But the character that stole the show, at least to me, was Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther. He was just so angry, and he was not like all the other characters that were having these quippy jokes and everything. He had conviction. He was out for blood. And speaking of that, the final fight between Iron Man and Captain America, I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't seen this movie for some reason, but that fight was just so intense and just amazing. Anyways, with all of that out of the way, 2016 overall was a really good year for movies, at least from my perspective. Some may disagree, and your favorite movie may not have been on my list, which you can make your own list. This is just my personal opinion. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.